This is gonna be one of them videos that's gonna cause some controversy. What's up, idols? It's CC Lesson 3. Welcome back to my channel. So we are here today gathered to talk about cultural appropriation in the world of K-pop and just in the world around us in general. Now, I'm not about to drag K-pop and K-pop artists. I'm not about to necessarily defend them either. I'm trying to coherently and respectfully try to see and understand both sides of this, because there are many people who are starched, that's appropriation, that's racist, and there are many people who are starched, it's just appreciation. So we're going to talk about the difference between cultural appropriation and cultural appreciation. I also get a lot of comments from people, like if I talk about EXO, which I don't often, or Big Bang, I get comments like, why are you listening to them, they're racist, and I'm like, what? So I just want to talk about this a little bit. Please don't hate me. But actually, before we get into this, I have a little giveaway announcement to make. If you guys did see that wig that I wore in the Itaewon clubbing story time, they're doing a giveaway for Mother's Day. So if you want to win a wig or two or some money, here are the rules on how you can apply and qualify to win. Number 1, you have to subscribe to Arabella Hair on their YouTube channel. 2, you have to click on the links that are going to be in the description box of this video, like all of them. And you have to add a texture hair to your cart, to your shopping cart. 3, you write what you want to say to your mom in the comments. You leave a comment saying like, I love you, mom, with the number of the hair that you want, and you leave your Instagram name. You leave it all in the comments, because they're gonna check through it and see who actually clicked all the links and who actually followed the rules. And I'm still holding up the number 3. Now the prizes for this is gonna be as follows. So there's gonna be one winner who gets a matching mother-daughter pair of wigs. So it's gonna be one winner who gets 2 wigs, and they're matching designer 20-inch wigs. So that's like the number 1 prize. Second place, there's going to be 2 people who win a 12-inch bob. For third place, there's going to be 5 winners who receive a $30 coupon. I'm trying to remember all these rules, I'm sorry. And this is valid from May 8th until May 18th. I know Mother's Day is on the 10th, so it'll be a little bit of a late gift, but better late than never, especially some delivery stuff's running slower because of the pandemic and everything. So the winners are going to be chosen random, completely random, but you have to absolutely click all the links and follow the rules, because I've seen a few giveaways where people try to say I did it and then they didn't actually like follow all the steps. So the winner will also be announced publicly on Arabella's YouTube channel, so you have to follow them and keep up to date to make sure you can give your shipping address and information to make sure you can actually receive your prize if you're chosen. They also have an Instagram account at Arabella_hair_official, where you can follow them there and make sure you're up to date with if you won or not. Okay, so now that the giveaway announcement is out of the way, let's get into this very touchy video about cultural appropriation around the world, but more specifically in the world of K-pop. Yeah, like I said, after my clubbing in Itaewon story time, I was called a racist, which I'm not gonna lie, I think these days people are hella quick to like play the race card. Like, not to say that racism isn't a major problem, I almost cursed, a major problem around the world, because it absolutely is. And if you're American, unfortunately, it seems these days now more than ever, or if you're in America. Like I said, also a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about is from my perspective as a black girl in America. I don't know what different cultures are perceived to be from your country or what you're taught, and like it just varies country to country, culture to culture, person to person. This is just me from America. 미국 사람이에요. So yeah, anyway, I get sidetracked easily, especially on this topic, but we're gonna try to cover multiple angles, multiple sides, and try to have like an actual discussion. So before y'all are quick to get in the comments and say something like premature, just stick around to the end, and if I miss something, then you can add it in the comments. Don't be that person who's like, what about that blackface incident in 2008, and then I actually do cover it and you look silly. So anyway, I'm gonna get more into appropriation. I'm sorry, I am rambling, and this is gonna be a long video and a nightmare to edit, but let's talk more specifically about appropriation in the world of K-pop. So after living in Korea as a person of color, as a black girl, I imagine some people are really curious about what my thoughts are on the K-pop I see, the Korean hip-hop scene, all that sorts of stuff. And I will admit, I think before I actually lived in Korea and was spent years around a whole nother culture and all sorts of different people, I was more angry about it, like watching videos from back home. Like I will never forget the first time, like I'm not the biggest Zico fan, I'm still not, but he had this line in one of his songs, I forgot, I think it was Bermuda Triangle with Dean and Crush, and he said, I'm the yellow race but I got black soul. I'm like, what does that mean? Like, what is black soul to you though? In the Tough Cookie video, he was wearing a Confederate flag, and if you have black soul, you know that black people don't mess with the Confederate flag. Like, that is a symbol of racism. Like, I feel like I have a better understanding about the difference between cultural appreciation and cultural appropriation, but there is a very fine line, and I see why people get very easily triggered, me being one of them. Like, don't get me wrong, if you're trying to be like that bad baby girl or Vicky, whatever the F her name is, that's like clear appropriation, because you're like acting like a stereotypical black person, and that's offensive. Like, I really feel like there's a difference between people who admire our culture and style versus people who try to steal it versus people who try to belittle it and just brush it off and profit off of it. There is different stages. It's like very different. And don't worry, I'm gonna get into cultural theft soon. Stay tuned. Like, there is definitely that difference. Like, while clubbing in Korea, I have seen like the difference. Like, I've turned up with Korean people who like know the lyrics. We're all dancing together. We're just vibing, taking shots, and nobody's offending anybody. Like, they're turning up and it's like, oh, okay, that's what's up. Like, that good energy, and it's just like, we all can turn up together and come together through this music. I remember even one time my friend Nikki, shout out to Nikki if you're watching, she was like trying to teach this Korean girl how to twerk because she was just fascinated by my friend twerk, and she's like, whoa, like, can you show me? And she showed her how to twerk, and she's all happy hitting her on the butt, and like stuff like that is cute to me. Even not trying to say that like twerking is black culture, but it's perceived that way, if that makes any sense. Then you see the other side of the spectrum where you see these dudes who go out wearing like fake tattoos, these dumb looking grills, they got their pants down like to their knees. That's when I'm just like, bro, what are you doing? They even hold their cigarette like it's a joint. Like, come on, son. And then they do this thing where they like talk to you different if you're a black person. And no lie, in Korea they call this black English. Again, I'll get into this a little bit more later. If you guys saw my Clubbing in Itaewon video, like the first one that I did, because I've done a few videos about Clubbing in Itaewon now, but me and my friend were like upset because like we heard these two Korean dudes like talking to other people speaking English. They were like, you know, flirting with other Korean people, white people, other foreigners normally. Then when they got to us, they were like, hey yo, let me holla at you. I'm like, oh hell no! So for me, that's like one of my triggers. Like, if you feel like you have to adopt this hip hop swaggy fake persona to try and act black, that's when I'm just like, that's not what black people are. Like I feel like people just try to simplify it and put us all into the same bubble, and that's one of my triggers. Like, I don't know, I just feel like it's different from seeing like incidences of like cultural appropriation in the States or in the Western world where people should definitely know better, versus in Korea where they probably don't know anything about black people aside from what they see on TV. Like, if you credit the creator or like, oh, this is so hard to talk about. Like, if you, for example, like the Kardashians, okay? I'm not one of these people who like hates them or loves them. I've never watched the show. I don't really know much about them aside from what I see on like Instagram and Shade Room or TMZ or whatever. But like, I do remember back in like 2016, they made boxer braids really popular, which they're cornrows, and they just decided to call them boxer braids, and they became trendy all of a sudden. And like, whenever you see people who want to work out or get some surgery done, they want the Kardashian booty, even though it resembles a curvy black woman. Like, black women tend to have more curves, but now it's the Kardashian thing. I just feel like it is very different when you see stuff like that in the Western world where we should know better versus in Korea. And now that we're talking about hair, let's keep on rolling. Let's get into the black hair aspect of all this, because that's where I've noticed there are more articles and more cases where people are triggered by K-pop artists wearing their hair a certain way. I do remember there was this Korean salon or barber, I don't know what you want to call it. It was like Hippie Buddha or something. Y'all know my friend Bria. She's one of those people who like zero tolerance. If you're not black, you can't wear your hair like that, which I don't see it that way. Like, I'm not all that upset because I do feel like they at least acknowledge that it is African American styled hair. Like, they don't say, look at my new fro design, look at this new braids, look at these new locks. Like, they acknowledge it's not theirs. So personally, I don't care. Like, I remember, if you guys saw this vlog I did, we were like on these rail bikes. It was me, Bria, my friend Destiny, and this guy, I don't remember his name, but he's Korean, like from Korea. And he was telling Bria how he wanted to get locks because he thought the hairstyle looked real cool. Bria and Destiny ate him up. They said, you cannot do that, you're gonna offend so many people, you shouldn't wear your hair like that. I was the only one who said, if you want to, do it. Like, he wasn't like yo 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 or anything like that. He's like, I think locks look cool, so I want to wear that hairstyle. Like, I'm not gonna cancel somebody for how they choose to wear their hair. It just seems like too many people choose to wear braids, locks, twists, and fros when they want to portray this clownish gangsta persona of a black person. That's when I'm just like, that ain't it, bruh. I've seen that in Seoul, and that's what pisses me off. The hairstyle itself doesn't make me mad. If I see someone has a new comeback, like, for example, okay, this was when I kind of had my falling out with Jackson from GOT7. He was like my favorite member from 2014 until 2017 when this happened. So like, he did an ad for Pepsi and he had locks and I did not care. Like, I was like, oh, he looked kind of nice with that. What made me upset was his response to fans who were offended. Like, his response to his fans is what really just turned me all the way off. He said something along the lines of, haters gonna hate, I'm not the only one who does this, you're on the wrong page, and just like, I'll probably put it on the screen because I can't fully remember what he said. Like I said, I'll admit, we do tend to get more easily offended these days, like everybody, regardless of your height, your weight, your age, your gender, your race, your sexual orientation. It's way easier to offend people these days. But the way you just brush off people who are your fans, that was just like, you could have at least shown a little bit, like, if I offended you, I'm sorry. He just said, haters gonna hate. And a few of you have asked me, why do you not like Jackson? Well, yep, that's why. And that's like when I started to get more into JB, because for me, I feel like there's a lot more authenticity with him. Like, Jackson was some Olympic fencer or whatever, and then he was scouted to be in a K-pop band. JB grew up listening to D'Angelo. You know how OG you gotta be to even know who D'Angelo is? That's what that's cultural appreciation. Like, I feel like that should be celebrated. And I do feel like these days K-pop is starting to reach a more global, international audience, and I think these idols have a lot to learn, and they're learning a lot. Like, there's been several incidences where artists will come out and apologize, but not Jackson. But yeah, I'm also aware of the fact that like labels and stylists and like the managers, they have so much control over the image that these groups put out. So I saw when I posted that I was going to be making this video, people were like, you better not be about to defend them. But I feel like in a way I kind of have to, because a lot of the times this isn't even necessarily what they want. Like, I remember EXO had their comeback for Coco Bob, and Kai had these locks. He didn't even want to wear them. Like, I saw this behind the scenes video or something where he was kind of just sitting down on break sort of, and he was just saying how his head felt heavy and he didn't like wearing the hairstyle, but like for the Jamaican vibe, the island beats that was the concept of the song, he had to. So yeah, I'm definitely not here to defend what I've been seeing. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate. Like, I remember this was right around the time when I first got to Korea. Henry formerly from SM, I don't think he's with them anymore, but he had this song called I'm Good, and I really liked the song. I was like, okay, I'm feeling it. But when I saw the video, I was like, what is this? Because it was literally, they were in a laundromat for some reason. Everyone's dressed like it's, you know, 2002 hip-hop, where like overly sized baggy clothes, bamboo earrings, braids, locks, and twists. Not a black person in sight though. So I was just kind of like, wait, what are you trying to do here? Like, I don't get it. So that rubbed me the wrong way. And then he went on his Instagram and made this apology saying like, look, I didn't mean to offend anybody. I just had this image and I had this concept that I thought you guys would really like. And then suddenly the video was taken down. Like, it was a very genuine apology, and I fully believe him. Like, I don't think he had any ill intention behind it. I mean, he's Canadian. They're the nicest people. I feel like SM was like, hey, take that down. So yeah, long story short, the hairstyles in itself doesn't make me mad or make me feel triggered or offended or feel like it's cultural appropriation. Because also dreadlocks, for example, are not unique to black people or black culture. Like Vikings used to wear their hair locked up. They're like early European depictions of people wearing dreadlocks. and they didn't have like darker skin or anything. So it's not, I think that, you know, the name dreadlocks come from like Jamaican Rastafarian culture, but aside from the name, it's not uniquely a black person thing. And like, here's the other side of the argument. Like, people are upset when non-people of color change their hair texture to like emulate a certain style, but black people have been straightening our hair for like decades now, and I totally get the reasons are different. Like, I've said it before in like my black girl hair rant video, but like, black people have done this because if we wear our hair in afros or locked or twisted or braided or just in its own natural state, then we're deemed ghetto, unprofessional, poor. Like, it has so many negative connotations to it. So it was more about assimilation and survival, like getting hired for a job and being taken seriously. Whereas if a non-black person changes their hair texture to make it look more kinky, it's for styles. So it's very different reasons, but nobody ever calls us racist for straightening our hair. So I don't feel like it's necessarily fair to call them a racist for changing their hair texture to make it more kinky. Like, these days we're finally seeing a surge where you're allowed to wear your hair in its natural state, and there are laws to prevent discrimination from it. But the fact that it took until recently for that to happen shows you the huge problem of race in this country or in the world. Like, I feel like another thing we should take into account is people around the world are literally just ignorant to us and our culture. Like, I'm not trying to scapegoat it. It's like true. Like, I've been in situations where, like, even with my students, I had to explain, like, I've only done like twists in my hair once, and I think I had it for like a month and a half. Some of my kids were like laughing at it, telling me I looked like a snake, like Pim. And some of the kids thought it was really cool and wanted to twist up their hair. Like, I'm not gonna get upset with you for wanting to wear this hairstyle. If you like it, then I think you're allowed to like it, you know? Like, it actually made me proud that like little 9-year-olds were like, teacher, do mine, or like they thought it was cute. But yeah, like, even in America, we're barely taught about our own history because it was very much erased and forgotten long ago. We get Black History Month, which is the shortest month of the year, by the way. We get the same spiel. You know, we learn about Rosa Parks, we learn about Martin Luther King Jr., we learn about Frederick Douglass, we learn about Harriet Tubman. Like, we don't know that much about ourselves before we got to this country. Like, we're not taught anything about it. We were just uprooted and forced. This is just from my perspective as an American. Even we in America aren't too privy to our history and our culture. Like, how can we expect people in Korea to know about us as well, you know? Like, history is so easily distorted. For example, there are textbooks that students in the southern area of the states where they're learning that slavery wasn't that bad because black people were happy to have jobs. I am not making that up. Like, I feel like the better approach to teach people about ourselves and us is to calmly and properly explain things, you know? Like, don't be so quick to hop on, oh, you canceled, or to call them a racist, you know what I mean? Like, they literally just may not know better. And people are like, oh, well, they should do their own research before they try something. If you're watching this video, there's a good chance that you enjoy a fair amount of K-pop, for example. But I'm sure, or I can speak for myself, I don't know much of anything about K-pop history or culture or like the origins of it. Like, I don't know when it first started. I don't know the first band. I don't know where in Korea it originated. Like, I don't think you necessarily have to research something fully before you can like start to appreciate it and like it. Like, that can come at any phase of your appreciation. Like, I had been watching Korean dramas and listening to K-pop and stuff well before I got to Korea. Like, I didn't really learn anything about actual Korean culture until I knew I was accepted to the program, so I wanted to kind of brush up on things. Like, I learned more about different dynasties, different eras, different regions, the language. Like, that just kind of comes with its own time, you know what I mean? You don't have to research something before you can appreciate it, if that makes any sense. This is a really hard video to do. I'm doing my best. Like, some things are inexcusable, and like I said, I'm not here to defend every dumb or ignorant or actual racist thing that they do. I'm just trying to be more understanding about it. Like, I'm sure South Koreans know what it's like to be offended. Like, if you went up to a South Korean and asked if they were Chinese, or asked if they were from North Korea, or asked if they eat dog, or like did that stupid Iceland thing, I'm sure they would be offended. Like, what the or like if you tried to sound Asian, you know, like I know they know what being offended is. I'm not making excuses. Like it is really unfortunate that the way a lot of the world sees black people is through media, music videos, TV, movies, things like that. Like I remember I was watching this interview with Juhan from Monsta X, and he said he grew up really admiring black English.
What you talking about? 그냥 이렇게 얘기하면 되잖아요. 근데 이제 흑인들, Hey, what you talking about, man? I don't know what you talking about.
What is black English, you might be asking? Basically, it's the black scent that we all talk like this, like, girl, you got me f***ed up. Like, that's how they think we all talk. And that's considered a black scent or black English. And then they played a clip of Tracy Morgan. I forgot what movie it was in. The subtitles blatantly said, oh, this is black English and American culture. And I'm like, no, it's not. Like, we don't all talk like that. But like, it just shows you like how ignorant a lot of them actually are. And I don't think he meant anything offensive by that. He thought it was cool, like he liked it, but he didn't know any better. He didn't know that we don't all talk like that. Like some of it is an ignorant way of showing their appreciation, even though it's not flattering or appreciated on our end. That's just all they know. Like I hate to say it, but I really feel like a lot of hip hop videos have done more harm than good as far as our portrayal and standing in the world. Hip hop is very popular. A lot of people listen to it. A lot of people copy it. Like the fact that there's Russian rap, Norwegian rap, Korean rap, Japanese rap, Chinese rap, Indian rap, Hindu rap. Like it shows you like it's a popular genre and everyone emulates it in their own way. But personally, I don't think that black culture is synonymous to hip hop. Like sure, hip hop was created by black people, cool, but I don't think it's like, I feel like it's oversimplistic to say that like rap, hip hop and swag. I feel like everything you see in a music video is not black culture, and it's kind of unfortunate like that's just become linked throughout the years. Like my dad complains a lot about what modern hip hop is and what it's perceived to be, and how it is very harmful to the image of black people around the world. Like my dad hates how like drugs, crime, guns, all that stuff's glamorized in hip hop and in movies. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to bash all hip hop because I know a lot of it is still pretty good. Like I love me some Kendrick. I love Childish Gambino. So yeah, I think in a messed up way, the things we perceived as appropriation is like a lot of Korean people's way of showing their appreciation because they don't know any better. And again, I'm not saying all. I'm sure some people are fully aware and just don't care who they offend. But I really do feel like a lot of them just like, oh, I'm sorry, I thought you think this was cool. I thought you would appreciate it. I'm like you, I'm trying to relate to you, you know? Like there is definitely a difference between appropriation and appreciation. Like for example, if a foreigner goes to Korea and they want to go to the Gyeongbokgung Palace and wear a hanbok, that's appreciation, you know what I mean? Like I don't think anyone would find that offensive. You're in another country, you want to feel a little more traditional and get a sense for the culture, so you wear a hanbok. Us foreigners listening to K-pop, that's a bit of appreciation. That's not appropriation, even though there are a lot of Western people who try to emulate their own K-pop bands.
Feel like this.
Cringe. And then I remember Jay Park got himself in some more trouble because one of his new artists or his friends or something wore dreadlocks. And people were coming for him in the comments saying it was appropriation, it was racist, it was stupid. And he tried to defend his friend by saying, well, if him wearing dreadlocks is appropriation, then non-Korean people listening to K-pop is too.
Oh, no. He tried it.
Not really seeing your point there, Mr. Park, but if that were the case, then all the music he makes would be appropriation. He wouldn't be allowed to make his R&B and hip-hop. You know, that's just a dumb argument. Anyway, sorry, I get sidetracked. So yeah, I told you guys I'd talk a bit about some more of the blackface incidents because some of those are straight up just like, so we're gonna get into a few examples of that here, next, coming up. First, I personally wanna say, this is probably where a lot of people are gonna get mad at me. I don't see, like if someone makes their skin darker, to me that's not automatic blackface or automatic racism. It's more about the intent and why they're doing it. Like I know back in the day they had these minstrel shows where these white people would put on like this shoe polish, overdraw their lips, and put on this caricature of a very dumb, stereotypical subhuman of a black person. Like that was what they thought of us. So that is absolute racism, and that is absolutely inexcusable. But like, for example, Channing Tatum a few years ago did lip sync battle where he put on a lot of bronzer to look more like Beyonce, and people said that was blackface. Bruh, he even brought Beyonce out with him and they performed Who Run the World together. Like that's not blackface to me. Now what is offensive and what is dumb, I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. Kpop from formerly the group known as Beast, now I think they're Highlight or something. He was on this variety show where he wore like this curly afro looking wig, had his face black as night, and was eating watermelon. He hit like all the check marks of what not to do and what to be considered racist. Like if you look for it, you're gonna find something to be offended by. There's always something that's gonna piss somebody off. Like I remember when Jimin said kamdungi, which is like a quite derogatory word towards black people in Korean. I remember when Namjoon straight up said the N-word. I remember Taeyang was accused of combining his face with Kanye West and said something about Happy Monkey New Year, and people were offended by that. You know what, actually let's do a little segment here where you can tell me in the comments if you think this is appropriation, racist, offensive, or not. So this is Mamamoo dressed up like Bruno Mars for Uptown Funk, and some people said that this was racist and that they did blackface. Now I will remind you guys kindly that Bruno Mars himself is not black. He is Filipino and Puerto Rican, I believe. And people even accuse Bruno Mars of doing cultural appropriation. Anyway, do you guys think that this is bad? Like, do you think that's appropriation? Do you think that's racism? Tell me what you think. Okay, so this is Beyonce wearing what I believe to be a traditional Hindi or Indian attire. What do you think? Is this appropriation or no? So this next one is from Wendy of Red Velvet. She decided to try to act like a black girl where she was like rolling her neck and pursing her lips and was like, she said something like, girl, what? Or something like that. So is that bad? Is that appropriation? Is that racist? Is that offensive? Let me know. So this next one is from Yisung of Super Junior. He decided to cosplay as Nick Fury, portrayed by Samuel L. Jackson. Do you think that's blackface? Do you think that's just fine? Let me know in the comments. Now this one is of Nicki Minaj. You guys know the Your Love music video? Dressed up like a geisha. That's Japanese culture. Now a lot of people try to defend her saying she has like Asian heritage, which is true, but it's South Asian, like India, not like Japan and China. So with that being said, do you guys think this is okay or not? Next we have the Bubble Sisters. This was supposed to be a Korean girl group back in 2003. Yeah, I don't know. This video was a mess. I tried my best. Like religion, culture, style, all that stuff can be appropriated. Like I think it's really cool that, you know, the world is so connected in a way that we can find stylistic inspiration from different cultures, and I feel like there are many ways to do that respectfully. I feel like you shouldn't just cancel somebody for trying something that's not their own and just be so quick to call it appropriation. Like I know the main problem behind it is their views towards black people, but like a lot of the people who do dress like this are younger and they're a lot more open-minded. I'm gonna have to do like a part 2 because this video is already really long and there's still a lot more I want to say. But like I said, as long as there's no disrespect behind it or negative intent, then I don't really care. Like that's just me. Just don't disrespect us, don't clown us, don't hate us. If we were treated more like equals, like we should be, instead of people to like sexualize or fear or copy, exploit, hate for literally not a reason, we wouldn't be so upset when aspects of our culture are copied, embraced, and loved when we as a people are not.